Star Wars 7x7 episode 2191. Today it is the most powerful rebel starship you have ever heard of. Actually, I guess technically I should say New Republic starship, and you are about to hear a lot more about it. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So, I guess this does beg the question of when exactly the Rebellion became the New Republic, and I think for all intents and purposes, the answer is after the Battle of Endor. So that was the decisive final victory for the Rebellion and the defeat of the Emperor and Darth Vader, and the Imperial fleet scatters off into all different directions, and so for all intents and purposes, that's the end of the Rebellion and the start of a new situation, and the Rebellion begins to convert over to the New Republic. But in the meantime, there has been some activity happening in terms of secret starship construction. And this is important because for the longest time, the Rebellion has been fighting against the Empire with assets that are comparatively weaker to what the Empire can field into battle. And so, yes, there are situations where, like, Lyndon Javes that we're hearing about in Star Wars Squadrons is specializing in taking out Imperial capital ships, in other words, Star Destroyers, right, with smaller forces. But at some point, the Rebellion, the New Republic, is going to have to be able to compete with the Empire on its own terms. We already have a sense of how outmatched the Rebellion is with this exchange, very quick but very telling, from Return of the Jedi between Lando and Admiral Ackbar.
Yes, I said closer. Move as close as you can and engage those Star Destroyers at point-blank range.
At that close range, we won't last long against those Star Destroyers.
We'll last longer than we will against that Death Star. And we might just take a few of them with us.
There you go. Thank you, Lando. Thank you, Admiral Ackbar. And so this is where the Nadiri Starhawk comes in. And it's occasionally referred to as the Nadiri Starhawk as opposed to just the Starhawk because it is being built at the Nadiri Dockyards, a secret facility, or at least it's supposed to be secret until it's going to become a bit more of an open secret when the Star Wars Squadron game debuts and we see in story mode that there are going to be attacks at the Nadiri Dockyards. But it's there, using salvage from Imperial Star Destroyers, that the Starhawk class battleship is going to be built. And finally, it is going to be a battleship that can compete on even terms with Imperial Star Destroyers, and in fact, some of its armaments are stronger than what Imperial Star Destroyers are fielding in battle. Now, if you've never seen one of these, then you can check out the video for the show where I've got photos popping into the feed for it. But basically, if you want to imagine the medical frigate from Empire Strikes Back from the end/Return of the Jedi with Wedge saying, they're headed for the medical frigate, right? That ship. Imagine that crossed with a Hammerhead Corvette and then blown up to the size of a battleship. That's basically what a Starhawk ship is. And by the time the Battle of Jakku rolled around, which was exactly 1 year and 4 days, yeah, really, after the Battle of Endor, the New Republic was able to field 3 Starhawk Mark I battleships into that fray: the Amity, the Concorde, and the Unity. Unfortunately, only one of them survived. That was the Unity. But it seems like there is actually another one kicking around somewhere, or maybe it isn't any longer, because the reference to the Starhawk in the Star Wars databank talks about the prototype being built at the Nadiri Dockyards and talks about the New Republic ordering 3 more to be built in order to counter the Imperial remnant threat. So 3 + 1 equals 4, because I can do basic math. And that means that we have a Starhawk unaccounted for, probably the prototype, and that means that's probably a ship that we are going to see in Star Wars Squadrons, and maybe one of the missions is going to be to protect that prototype from an attack by the Imperials. And we know there is some kind of attack on a dockyard of the New Republic because we see that in some of the gameplay footage and trailers. That's, in fact, we talked about it yesterday, where we see the TIE bomber with the composite beam, and we're like, that doesn't work like that. But there are scenes of corvettes getting bombed and other ships that are docked, so it certainly seems like that would be the target, and also that would either be the objective or Titan Squadron would be shocked to discover that an entirely new class of battleship is under construction, and that would certainly add urgency to the mission that they are trying to complete, whatever that is. So there you go. That's what we know about the Nadiri Starhawk Mark I battleship. I will say there's also a Mark II. There was a Mark II created, but that's going to be outside the realm of what happens in Star Wars Squadrons. That happens later down the line. Wouldn't it be fun to see one of those appear in, say, The Mandalorian? I mean, we have New Republic referenced already in Season 1, so yeah, there are just some fun things that exist out there that would be great if there was a reason for them to pop up in Season 2. So every once in a while, I'm probably going to end up saying something like that on an episode of the show here until we actually get Season 2. All right, that's really going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.